Coming up this week on Kiss My Collectibles, we talk with Kollector Dave Scott. Stay up to date with the show and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Become a member of our brand new Patreon and receive exclusive updates and benefits.
Is that a crock?
This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast, but you knew that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Andrew Scambetti.
Fortunately.
Joseph Lalich.
Joseph.
And some guy nobody has ever heard of.
That's right. Joining us,
But a guy that we love, yeah.
Yes, one of our very, very good friends that we got to meet in person in Indy and spent a lot of time with and shared a lot of funny stories. Mr. Dave Scott.
Yay. All right, get out of here.
Yeah.
Done now?
We'll do the show without you. So this week we are going to talk. We're going to do a collector spotlight, which we haven't done in a while. And we're going to talk to Dave. If you've seen the show before, you know the deal. We're going to talk to him about his history with the band, his history with collecting. He's mainly a vinyl guy, but he's got some cool posters, as you can see back there in the background.
Very cool posters.
But Dave's got a lot of cool stories, and we're just going to chat with him, just like we were sitting at the table at Indy and just talking. So,
but don't forget, before we get started, head on over to ClickTshop, clickwithak.com to get your official Kiss My Collectibles and Kiss My Wax swag. And it really does help the channel out. Give this video a like, hit subscribe on YouTube, join our groups on Facebook, and make sure you visit our websites there. And make sure you become a member of our Patreon. We are very, very close to rolling out something cool for our Patreon members, and it's going to help the channel grow so you can hear us talk about Kiss, for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
we've had some new Patreons join up, and we appreciate all of you guys. And we promise we've got some stuff coming for you.
Yeah, it really does help. It really does help.
Definitely helps.
Jason promises. I'm making no promises. So send all your hate mail to Jason Herndon because I don't. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. So before we get into talking to Dave, I think all of the guys, except for maybe me, they all have some cool stuff to show. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I got one.
Andrew, go first.
So this arrived in Cleveland last week, but because we recorded so early, I wasn't able to go to the post office and grab it. But it is the 2003 Japanese tour book.
Nice.
Now, what's cool? There's a couple cool things about this. First of all, it's very flimsy, kind of almost like a magazine, just a really big magazine. Because you could tell that this was probably printed at the very last minute because you had Tommy Thayer on the cover, and this was Tommy Thayer's first Japanese tour with the band. He had just had his first official show at the Kiss Symphony, so you probably think that this was they probably waited to print this because I guess they wanted Ace to be a part of it. Ace is on the back cover. He's just not on the front cover.
Yeah.
Now, there's no mention.
Complete Photoshop job on the cover of that.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, this is a 77 shot. This is not.
It's not good, but there it is.
Yeah, so, but if you look through the book, it does mention, when Eric Singer replaced Peter Criss on the Farewell Tour in 2001, but there's no other mention of Tommy Thayer. There's not even a current group shot in here. So you look through here, it has a history of all their Japanese tours, and it has no mention of Tommy Thayer in the book at all. But what's cool about this is I got this for an insane price. I got it for like a fourth of what it usually goes for, so I couldn't pass it up. But as I was looking through it,
even at a fourth, so that means that it's going to be worth even less in 5 to 10 years, right?
Shut up.
So I'm very. I'll get it from you for a fraction of what you paid for.
Are you keeping a running total of what you're willing to pay for his collection?
Oh, I know exactly what I'm willing to pay for it.
Less. Yeah, less.
About $11.34 for all of it.
Oh, that's that much? That much?
Yeah.
Man, I get 11 hamburgers for that. But what's cool about this is a ticket for the March 13th show at Budokan fell out of it, and this wasn't advertised in the auction either.
That's very cool.
This was just in there, so it's cool. So I've been to Japan to see Kiss. I never got to go to the Budokan to see Kiss, but to have a ticket from the Budokan is kind of cool. So,
Did you now when you went to Japan to see Kiss, was that the reason you went to Japan, or were you were going to Japan and just happened it was sort of?
No, I booked the vacation around the Kiss tour, and I knew that they weren't playing Budokan at the time. They did Rainbow Hall in Nagoya, the Koskai Center in Fukuoka, and they did 2 outdoor festivals, one at Fuji Speedway and then one at a field in Osaka. And maybe on another show I'll tell you some of the really, really funny stories about that. Here, I'll tell you one funny story now. I was in Japan in July.
You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I was in Japan in July, and that was at the tail end of rainy season in Japan. So us knowing that we had seen 2 shows indoors, that we were now going to see 2 shows outdoors, that the fields that these festivals were being held in were just a muddy, disgusting mess. It's disgusting. So a friend of mine, Mike Namoli, him and I, we got up early, one of the festival days, and we're like, man, I don't want to ruin like my shoes and my clothes in these festivals. Why don't we go to the shopping mall across the street and just get some shoes? So we're like, yeah, cool. So we walk over to get some shoes, and what they say about Japanese people, they are a lot smaller than us here in America. So there were only 2 styles of shoes that were in our size. One was like a denim-looking shoe with like a pink stripe on it, and the other one was a camouflage pair of Chuck Taylors. So we're like, man, which one do you want? Because
camo Chucks, I'd be down. Those are cool.
No. You think it would be cool, but the design of these particular ones, it was hideous. It looked like someone threw up on my shoe. It was terrible. So, but what ended up being really funny is at that show in Osaka, that's where I caught the guitar and all this stuff. So I was in the photo pit when Gene spit the blood and he threw the blood cup at me. His fake blood got all over the shoes. So I ended up selling the shoes with Gene Simmons' blood on them when I got home on eBay. Someone bought them.
All right. Good. Blood and mud on them, right?
Blood and mud.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Joe, what do you got?
So one thing, everybody, hold on to your pants. I've got a collectible this week.
Hold on to your butts.
Unbelievable. I don't believe it.
Yeah. I got the
nice.
the Wallace pencils, and I'm conspicuously holding them this way because the ad said in the plastic, and the dude wasn't lying. But there's you probably can't see it there. The plastic is torn, so this will slide down. So it's not completely sealed. There's just like a little hole out of it here. But so these are made by the Wallace Company, and I'm cribbing off of Nicholas Buckland's Hottest Brand in the Land book.
HottestBrandInTheLand.com.
Page 159, he talks about these pencils from USA, the Wallace Pencil Company. And this is one of the 2 variations that have been identified. There's one, so this one has the flame sort of pattern here, and then the next version had the faces larger, and then there was a smaller flame pattern down there at the bottom. So there's 2 different sets of these. Page 159, when all you lucky people get your books. And then the next thing I have to show, because the esteemed Mr. David Scott is on the show, I know what a fan he is, so I thought I would show the Elder, a Swedish copy of the Elder. So it's got the hype sticker on the jacket there, and then there's a Swedish and a Norwegian version of this.
Correct.
And so this is why I dove in on this one. This was from one of our Kiss My Wax friends who was getting rid of some things, so I was able to get this. So
great shot.
Got this absolutely mint. I mean, it's crazy, you guys. It looks like it's been, in the record and never taken out. No tack holes, nothing. Wow. And you can tell this is Swedish because it's got the reversed paw. So the Norwegian one has the flipped version. And I can just quickly, it has the here's the inner. It has an interesting kind of little notch here. So there's that, and it's got the gatefold shot is on the inner there.
Sleeve. Yep.
Yeah, and then here's the label real quick, which is the film works.
Can't see it.
You can't see it
now.
Can't see it. Can't see it.
Andrew, you need to get glasses. Can you see it now? Can you see it now? Read the first line, Andrew.
There'd be no way. There'd be no way. I'd be dead.
Yep. So those are my two things for the week.
When they do repress Elder as a bonus thing with a red vinyl and all of that, you can thank Jason and I for our constant lobbying.
That's right.
And 2 other guys.
And 2 other guys.
Well, they're only going to release 5 of them anyway, so the audience.
Limited pressing.
And I'm gonna buy all 5 of them, and then I'm gonna sell them to you guys on the secondary market.
$500 a piece.
$500 a pop.
Refresh. Sold out.
Sold out. All right, Dave, you got something new?
I do.
Everything's new. Everything's new to us. So Dave could just cheat. He could be like, he's the sweetest thing in his collection. He could just go, hey, I got this week, and we would.
I got this because it is new.
Oh,
And
cool.
It's the Fisher Price Little People.
Yeah,
And
so when he
people-
has bath time, we have his
That's
in the
right.
bath with him.
I got a different set to put in the bath.
Oh, the
Oh.
rubber ducks. The rubber
Of course,
ducks.
You gotta
'cause have
keep
to
the
have
set
one,
sealed.
one in the box, one almost out of the box,
One
one
in-
ready to get out of the box, one in the bath, one that's been in the bath and dried off. So,
That's how they go up in value. Yeah, I
Or
was
down.
discussing before. This is the investment in our future. So
Yes.
we should be buying these,
right.
not to keep them, but to give them to other children that can be influenced to buy our collections later on in life.
and here's what's really cool. I understand that people are buying other people's bathwater on the internet these days.
Oh God!
So
Don't, no, not
Dave,
this
the next
show.
time he's on the show, is going to be selling his Kiss Little People bathwater.
Oh, no.
That'll be a little container that goes with as an additional thing to the.
I don't
Yeah.
even like to take baths because you're like sitting in your own filth.
That's what I'd say to my wife. Why do you
That's
like
right.
soaking in your filth? And
Yeah.
she's like,
So-
I'm not that goddamn dirty.
Yes,
What do you
you
mean
are.
sitting in my
Yes, you are. Listen, if I didn't have to dry my hair after every shower, I would probably shower twice a day.
It's the old Seinfeld bit. I'm not sitting in a tepid pool of my own filth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to Dave's conversation though about investing in our future, it's funny because I kind of had a real world example that didn't work out like I hoped it would with my daughter. She was very young. She was very interested in my Kiss room and always wanted to come in and look at my stuff. She was just fascinated.
When
Absolutely
it was up,
fascinating.
now that it's in boxes, she's like, Dad, why is there all this garbage?
Can't
in
even
boxes?"
finish a story without you butting in with your stupid jokes. So, but anyway,
Jason lost his train of thought. He doesn't even know what's now.
Just
I've been picking at it for
Collector's
like 3
spotlight,
years.
Dave's
I've just
got.
been picking at him and picking at him, and finally
I'm about
he's
to
like,
lose
"I'm
it.
looking at it."
4 years later, I'm about to lose it. No.
It's all going according to
Jason
plan.
one day is just gonna lose his ever-loving mind and just tear up his Kiss room because he just can't take it anymore.
And the next episode, I'm ripping, the promotional posters, going "Fuck you, Andrew Scambatti, fuck you."
Well, I mean, it's better than setting videos on fire that you couldn't sell.
That's right. So anyway, back to my story. She was always enamored, and I took her to see Kiss when she was 7, just like my dad did. I thought for sure I was planting the seeds for someone who was going to be a Kiss fan, and she wanted. We had Kiss posters hanging up in her wall, and I bought her a bunch of Kiss Hello Kitty stuff. She was a huge Hello Kitty fan. She loved. In fact, still that's the only remaining Kiss thing she has hanging up in her room is her Kiss Hello Kitty poster. But as she got older and started discovering new music, she ended up becoming a massive Panic at the Disco fan, and Dallin Weeks and all of these people that have been in this band. I've taken her to see them now, half dozen times. And she it used to be on her iPod, she only had Kiss songs. Now she only has Panic at the Disco songs and all of these other bands that are kind of related, Fall Out Boy and that stuff. She has no interest in Kiss anymore. Zero. She'll go see them, and she's, she enjoys the show and stuff. She doesn't hate them, but it didn't work like we, hoped, giving the Fisher Price stuff away. I mean, and she was immersed in Kiss.
Jason, you have to do it right, though, man. You got to strap her into the chair. You got to put all the screens around. You got to do the Clockwork Orange eyeballs propped open, and you just got to be.
That's where I failed.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
No, but
feeding
there's-
videos. into
there's-
her.
Bad parenting.
There's a huge difference with that. There's a huge difference with that. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think all of us had probably very, very similar childhoods where we had our friends, but we weren't the most popular people in school. And you shaking
I
your
was
head.
homecoming king.
But what I think that we gravitated towards Kiss because it gave us a feeling of belonging to something. It sounds like your daughter is much more well-adjusted than all of us ever were.
Well, it's an interesting point, Andrew, because my daughter is very introverted, and she has very few friends at school. She has a couple of close friends, and that's it. She's not popular. She's not, she's just not. And she's a homebody, and she listens to music all the time. That's what she does. And now she's started to get into anime, but she's really listening to music.
That's awesome.
I know, but she is music. She's got a guitar, she's got a bass, she's got a keyboard. I've been teaching her how to play all this stuff, but that's her thing. She's going to a concert tonight at 12 or 13 years old. But she's been to more concerts. She's probably been to 15 concerts already, and she's 13. But it was hardcore Kiss for about 2 years. And then when she discovered her own thing, she went to her own thing and left Kiss behind. And so I don't know, Dave, to your point, I don't know if we can convince that many people to become,
Well, I think it's one of the. Do you not think it's possibly a little like religion? You've got a whole room dedicated to it. It's your jam. Yep. She experienced it for a while. Even if she moves away from it, she's never going to be completely agnostic. There's always
I totally agree.
Has a soft spot.
Oh yeah,
I was going to say the same thing. At some point, she'll have some Kiss stuff that she holds on to for nostalgic value for you and for her childhood and that kind of. Absolutely, she will. That'll come around at some point. Someday she's going to turn Detroit Rock City back on and go, God, this reminds me of my childhood.
It's the reason why I'm a Buddy Holly fan, because that was my dad's favorite artist.
Yeah,
and I remember us driving in the truck and singing Buddy Holly songs together, and I'll never forget that. So
there are times in my life where I can pinpoint, like listening to Billy Joel, and I'm a huge Billy Joel fan because I was a little kid. I remember being in the back of the station wagon listening to Billy Joel as a very little kid and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of that stuff just brings you back to a moment in time, and I'm sure that'll happen for your daughter, at some point. I think
I'm sure
it works. That's how nostalgia plays into it. And we've talked a little bit about this on the show.
What
role does nostalgia play into your objective and subjective life?
Sure.
No, you're right.
Yeah, sure.
I have a super vivid memory of driving to pick up my first pair of Kiss tickets and listening to Don't Speak by No Doubt, because that song was huge in December of 1996. And I distinctly remember, being on the New Jersey Turnpike, watching the cars go by, listening to Don't Speak on the way to pick up these Kiss tickets. So
yeah,
I'll never forget that.
There are songs that remind you of summer.
That kind of plays into the argument about when does the bottom drop out of this market. The stuff that's collectible now, there are a few thousand of these objects because there's a few thousand collectors. What, talking 5,000-10,000 people globally that are buying stuff now? There can't be that many objects. Those objects are still going to have an audience. If you're talking 10,000 people globally, in theory, those things will always be valuable. It's the stuff like McFarlane that they produce hundreds of thousands of.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you'll have with a lot of these items, you'll have really huge first, second, and third week sales of this, and a lot of these items will be overproduced. I mean, nobody knew that those McFarlane dolls were gonna do as well as they did because they were so difficult to find at first, and they were overproduced. They were produced with the letters and with the albums and with the studio shots and with the live shots, and it was so overproduced that there are 10,000 collectors, but there are 25,000 pieces of that merchandise.
Yeah.
So before we get into discussing, Dave's history with the band and everything, I want to talk about a couple of projects. We'll hint at one and maybe discuss another a little in detail. There's going to be an exclusive Kiss My Wax record coming out soon, and I posted a little teaser, a little information in the groups on Facebook. I don't want to get too deep into it right now. We're right in the middle of design work right now, but as soon as we have a little bit more of that done and can tease maybe some photos or something like that, but we'll let you know. But we're shooting for the on sale to be sometime in the third week-ish of August or something like that. But full details in Kiss My Wax and Kiss My Collectibles on Facebook.
Instagram, Twitter, everything's going to be this. You basically you won't be able to trip without seeing information about this.
That's right. We're very excited. It's the first record that we're doing as the Kiss My Wax imprint. It'll be good times coming for sure.
It will be cool and it will be big. So it's not. We're not doing 50 copies of something. We're not. It's going to be cool and it's going to be big. Trust us.
Yep, it's a big deal. So, and then
the
other thing.
Are you guys going to tell me what it is?
No, you're completely in the dark. So.
No. I already know what it is, but we like to, Anyway.
We like to joke about on the show, as they say.
Yes. It's a limited edition minion that you have behind you right there.
Yeah.
And a porg. I got a porg back there, too. It's super soft.
And so the other thing we've got going on is... I guess Nicholas posted all about this on his social medias for the Hottest Brand book, so it's okay to talk about. But he's got the 50 signed copies. I guess the Super Deluxe Edition or whatever is going to be sent to him in Los Angeles. He's on his way to Los Angeles probably in the next day or so, and he's got his time set up to go have Paul and Jean sign those books. And 3 of our 4 co-hosts of this show are going to be there. So, one of y'all want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So Nicholas, myself, and Joe, we are all going out to LA to have some fun, and we are also going to be administering these signatures on these books. So we are going to meet up with Gina Paul at an undisclosed location to get the books all signed. But we're all excited to be in the same place at the same time because this might be the only time we get to see Nicholas. So we're out there for a couple days. We're going to take in some fun sites. We're going to see some people, going to do some things, and then we're going to get these books signed, and then we're going to ship them out to all you crazy kids out there that bought a copy of the Super Deluxe book. So yeah, it is happening. The books are completed. So I think Nicholas gets to Los Angeles on the 29th, and the books arrive to him by either the 30th or the 31st. I'm not sure on the day.
They're in transit as we speak.
Yeah.
And by kids, you mean 50-year-old men and women, right, Andrew?
Well, I see. Here's the thing. I'm such a, if you watch any of the backstage footage with Eric Carr calls all the fans kids, and there were no Kiss fans at that time. Right. So, but anyway, so we're very excited to be out there, and we're very excited to be able to do this, and look for some hijinks. It's just going to be like 3 days of us just we're bringing a cardboard cutout of Jason, so it's going to be like we're going to be there, and there's going to be just a cardboard cutout of Jason, but the worst possible photo of Jason that we could find, like he's like mid burp or mid sneeze or something, but he's going to be there with us. So,
but if we take a life-size cardboard cutout of Jason Herndon, which would be 9 feet 2 inches tall, we've actually shrunk it down so we all can feel like we're actually the same size as Jason for once.
Yeah. My heart is hurt that I cannot join you fellas. I've met you guys. I don't care, but I really am gonna miss meeting Nicholas. I've been talking to Nicholas since 2009, and
back in the chat roulette days.
Yeah, absolutely. But to segue from Los Angeles, you guys may also get a chance to meet Mr. Dave Scott, our guest for today.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet, but we're staying with him, so very excited to be.
Yeah. If my Airbnb is in a bad neighborhood, I could be like, Dave, can I stay in there? I'm super clean, I swear.
DaveScottBnB.com.
That's right.
I'll sign up. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to talk with Dave out there and hang out for a pint or so, and we're looking forward to it, and we're going to document the whole thing. And we're looking forward to doing a cool episode on some of that. And Andrew will put his preeminent editing skills to good use. And so we're looking forward to it.
Finally put it to good use.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, we've been hearing about these editing skills, but we haven't seen them yet.
Hey man, a couple weeks ago when we had we didn't take the week enough because we did a week where we recorded 2 episodes, but there was a weekend where we couldn't record because I made a film in 48 hours. I mean like from cradle to the grave, I made a film. So
and it shows.
Yeah.
Shut up! Didn't even see it. I haven't even posted it yet.
Yeah. Rated XXX.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
Please don't
It
show
is.
me.
Yeah.
So-
And it's 12 seconds long.
but what do you do with the other 11 seconds?
That's great. Okay.
All right, so all the way from Los Angeles, our good friend, we were able to hang out in Indianapolis and became a good friend of ours. At least I consider him a good friend, Dave Scott. We talk on Facebook from time to time. So yeah, from my perspective anyway, we sort of hit it off in Indianapolis, and
I don't like him too much.
no,
We had
did I
a
say
lot
that
more
out
fun the second day.
My mother doesn't either.
We had a lot more fun the second day with him because somebody wasn't there the second day, so I don't know who that was, but
yeah. Trust me, any room I'm in is dark and gloomy, and yes, it's all bleak. Trust me. So anytime I can not be at a party, that should be the party that you're at, for sure. For sure. But no, we're glad to have Dave on the show. So welcome, Dave. Thanks for coming on, for sure.
No worries.
Sorry you
Getting
had
up
to
early.
get up and deal with this.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, he's
Early.
like, why am I here? They're not even talking to me. So
Why am I here at 7 o'clock in the morning? Is
right.
the-
All right, Dave. Let's talk about let's just talk about your history with the band. I know we've had a lot of private conversations about these
private.
stories and stuff, and and how just how things have. You have kind of an interesting, different story with the band, which I think is cool to share. But why don't you just tell us how you first discovered Kiss and got into the band?
Yeah, I was saying before. I think I've traveled. I've moved around countries, obviously, with the weird accent. I've always turned up a day late, dollar short to the cool stuff. I never got to see the. Well, no, rarely got to see anything really, really cool. So we'd moved from England to Australia I think we went out there on holidays in '78, and I saw my cousin's records. I saw Love Gun and Destroyer just sitting in a corner at a cousin's place, and they wouldn't play them for me. They were playing something else, some other act that they were into. But I saw these covers, and I'm like, whoa, that's my band. That's my thing now. So I would have been 11 years old, 10, 11 years old when I saw them. And it was just from the covers, from Love Gun. There has never been a better cover than that. I'm like, that is the band that I want to follow. So I went back to Manchester, told my granddad that I needed a record by these guys that nobody has heard of in Manchester. And he found me this.
That one?
That's the one?
That one.
That's the
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the one. It's still got the blue tack marks on the back of it where it was stuck on the wall. So same as the mask. So that stuff
Very cool.
went immediately onto the wall and just got played continuously. And my best friend, Dave, who ironically we've made contact again through the Wax group. So Dave lived across the road from me. He heard that and he's like, I'm down. Every other band went out the window, and all we started collecting from that point, the only band we were listening to was Kiss.
So that was 1978, you said?
Yeah, that would have been 78. Well, it must have been. If that was in the record store, it must have been 78.
And what Dave is showing, hold your thought, Andrew, is for the people that are just listening, is the UK Radioactive single with the masks, correct?
Colored vinyl.
Yeah.
Colored vinyl. Yes, thank you.
Colored
Can we back up 1 second? The most concerning part of that whole story is Dave is claiming that he has a friend named Dave.
Correct.
When in reality, I've had therapy sessions where I've talked about my best friend Joe, and
My best friend Dave lived across the street from me, directly opposite.
Sure he did. Sure he did.
yeah, okay. Here come the men in the.
Where's your clock, Joe?
The back door key to my house, to my parents' house, the back door key to our house opened the back door to Dave's house as well.
What?
So,
So-
they shared the back doors share the same lock.
Yeah,
So
the back-
he's talking about his dick. He's
Same
talking about his
back
dick. He's talking about his dick.
So,
I'm even more concerned now, Dave. You know, there are doctors for this.
we let ourselves into one another's houses
All right, we get
to go visit. Which is
And
Hey,
so
Dave.
the point that I want to make here is you said this was 1978, and it's been publicized in history that Kiss went over to Manchester and all those countries in 1976, and they said that the success that they had in America really didn't translate over to Europe. And it's interesting that you said that you wanted this record by a band that no one had ever heard of. So I think it's interesting that people are like, well, why didn't Kiss come to Europe in 77, 78? Because nobody knew who they were in Europe. They weren't popular in Europe at that time.
And at their massive height, at their most popular, arguably, right? No reverberations overseas. Interesting.
They were not big at all. When Dave and I got into the band, we were like the only kids in our group that knew who they were. So it was a rock band, and there was a thing called the new wave of British heavy metal. So there was a lot of bands coming out, which is, Motorhead and Saxon and Girl School and all these heavy bands. So there was a lot of that post-punk stuff, and we were into a rock band. We were just into this weird rock band that nobody else kind of knew of. And they were so different because you weren't watching videos, so all we knew were the pictures that we would see in the Japanese magazines or whatever we could get our hands on, and we just filled in the rest with our imaginations. So jeans, boots, when I was a kid, because on Love Gun they are spikes. There's no heel.
No platform.
Platform.
Yeah. That for me, that was gospel. That was exactly how they looked.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they looked like superheroes on Love Gun, therefore they were superheroes. Until I saw, the Phantoms movie, and it all kind of got ruined for me.
Star Child.
And that would have been Attack of the Phantoms. That would have been Attack of the Phantoms.
Yeah, it was.
1979.
Yeah, so we were fans, and as kids you can't buy everything. So I would buy one record, he would buy another. We would tape them. I was talking to him the other day, and I was saying the Destroys Anaheim, the bootleg. I would swear blind that I have that in my record collection, but I don't. He does. I've got Blitz London or Takes Tokyo. So they were the ones with the just the white label with the paper sleeves on them. That's how the bootlegs looked back then.
And you bought those? You guys bought those back then in the record stores? Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of those, and he's got the ones I don't have.
Let's get back to this Dave and Dave thing. Have you seen the movie Fight Club by any chance?
Oh, shut up. Come on.
But that's cool. That's cool that there's such a vivid memory of you guys and like taping and trading, and I didn't really have anybody in my life like that who was into Kiss the way that I was, because I fell into it the same way you did, and I think a lot of people did, right? A lot of people have that story about these guys were superheroes, and they hit us at the sweet spot at the exact right time where all of us were like, oh man, it was like Star Wars and Kiss, these big over the top kind of things, and I think that's why a lot of this the merchandise and nostalgia and all carries over for all of us, because it was just so deep seated and ingrained in us when we were little kids. So we can go right back to our rooms at that moment. And Andrew, you're the same way. It's just a little bit of a later time, right? Where we all kind of fell into it the same way. So it's interesting. The more people we talk to, and the more we share stories, it's universal, almost universal, how people got into this band if they're of a certain age.
Yeah, well, right. I think the power of it is not just like the music. Those first, the first 8 records I thought were fantastic, and I still listen to it. I still really enjoy it. For me, in the 80s, they became like a lot of other bands, but I can listen to that music, or I can talk to Dave, and suddenly I'm 10, 11, 12 again. There's a power in that, and I guess it works with all different music for different people, but that's what appeals to me. I look at that stuff, and it brings back really great memories, or it's just, you can't do that with things that you get into later in life.
For sure. Yeah, because you're jaded and you bring a lot of baggage to the party, and you have biases that fit into it. But man, as a kid, you're just like, you're innocent, and this is just like the coolest stuff you've ever seen. And it just imprints on some of us in some indelible way that seems kind of universal.
Yeah, so whenever we talk about what are the Holy Grail items, I don't have a lot of Grail items. There's things I want to do. So when I was a little kid, I used to get stuff signed. Like my dad would get things. Somewhere there's a Suzi Quattro autograph. I never met Suzi Quattro. He knew a guy that knew somebody that was a doorman at a thing. And so signatures became important to me as landmark things, not anything other than that. It was like it just became significant to get something signed. So I want Ken Kelly to sign my Love Gun. I've got an ad. I've got a Billboard magazine ad. I want that signed by Ken Kelly. I want Ken Kelly to sign one of my record covers.
He's at a lot of conventions out this way.
Yes.
So if I could ever help with that, just let me know, because there's horror conventions that he does, in the Midwest and even on the East Coast. He's there all the time.
He does a lot of the expos on these coasts too as well.
I came out for Jersey, but I think he'd cancelled that. That was my intention at the time.
He does. In New Jersey, there's something called Chiller Theater. It happens every April and every October, and it's filled. If you're a horror movie fan, even just like a B movie fan, there's tons of celebrities there, and he is always there. Always is, because he lives in New Jersey. So I'm down. Yeah,
the Jersey Kiss Expo I went to 3 or 4 years ago. He was at, and he's always selling prints and stuff of Love Gun. And
he did. One of my friends had known him and worked with him for many, many years. So years ago, he gave me individual prints of the original Destroyer artwork that he did. This was before Destroyer Resurrected. This is like 2004, 2005. I got these. Mm-hmm. In one of my moves, I don't know where I put them. So I'm assuming I can get them from him again. But these are something that he did, that he was selling for a while. And I remember they were all different sizes, which my OCD was like, why are they just make them the same size? Like, why? I don't... Anyway.
Right. So
yeah, they were a larger than life kind of thing that we all got into, and I just followed them because they were rock music. Mm-hmm. And my peer set at high school, even though they weren't into the same music, it was still rock music. We still grouped together, and then we kind of, these guys are into Iron Maiden, these guys are into Motorhead, I was into Kiss. So
did you ever get into any of that other music? Did you ever get into Iron Maiden or anything like that?
Yeah, I did later on, when I felt that, well, once Kiss had taken the makeup off, then that lost a little magic for me. So I started, getting more into Maiden and getting more into heavier stuff, and then that led into Guns N' Roses. And
I'm so sorry about that. No, I'm kidding. So this is 1978, and then you went to Australia. Tell us about that.
I didn't leave. I think I left. I was about 14. So the cool thing that did happen. So we went around. We didn't know of them when they first toured, but prior to, and I think we missed the 1980 tour. We missed Dynasty because we were too young. We were discussing this again the other way. They didn't play Manchester for Dynasty. They played the North.
It would have been Unmasked. Would have been Unmasked at that point.
Prior to leaving the UK and going to Australia, there was one kind of cool thing that happened. It wasn't seeing them live, but they did their last promo tour with Ace in London. So they came to, and they were promoting Creatures of the Night.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how our parents agreed to do this. They let us, you're talking, we're like 13, 14 years old. They let us travel 4 hours on the train to London, a city we have never been to.
Wow.
As kids, to go and line up outside of a record store to meet this band. I sleep in. Dave and one of the other guys just take off.
Oh.
I wake up and apparently they were outside throwing stones at the window. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I've then got to do that trip on my own, find these guys, wait outside the record store, and got that signed.
Wow.
That's freaking awesome. I was just checking on kissmonster.com to see if I could find out the date, find out some dates when they were there. I believe,
is that October or November 82? Because Gene's dated that.
Did he really? Wow.
83, maybe?
No, it would have been 83 because by 83, Vinnie Vincent
was there.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were told when we went into the store, you get one thing signed, it should be the album. And so what we did was we took two things because that's what we do, right?
That's what everybody does, right?
We had that, and then there were the Kiss Army.
Oh, wow.
There were from the kit, I think. It was like a UK Kiss Army kit thing. And I hate these pictures, but the fact that I've got Eric's signature, but my favorite one.
And for everybody in the Facebook groups, those are real, by the way. So don't come on and say, "Oh, those don't look real. Those aren't."
No, and that's
hold that ace back up. Hold that ace back up. Dave.
It's
Look
incredible.
at that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a vintage H. Fairley autograph with no card.
On the back of it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then there's this one. So you get one autograph each, and security are there. And I don't know if you can see this because it will need to reflect. Can you kind of pick up the silver pen there?
Where is it? Can you? Oh, I see it. Yes,
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
That does not say Gene Simmons. That says Gene Simmons when somebody has hold of you and they're pulling you out of the way. So as I went to get the second signature for him, the security guard just went, and I was close enough to grab at that point. He just pulled me out of the way. So that signature is just scroll.
Yeah.
So let's just take a second now. So everybody who comes onto these Facebook groups and says, that's not a real autograph, that's not this, and I'm just talking generally, I'm not talking about Dave's stuff now. You guys don't know what you're talking about, frankly, because there are a million situations where these kinds of things happen. They're in a hurry and they're walking at the airport and they just scrawl something out. I've got one where it looks like I've got Gene's autograph twice on the same thing, and it's all scratchy, and it looks like somebody had tried to copy Gene's autograph, but it's because it was on uncoated paper. He had a dry Sharpie, and the Sharpie ran out of juice, and so he picked up another one and re-signed it, and so it looks like it's a mess. So you guys, what I'm saying is these autographs come in many different shapes and forms, and they're always not perfect. And nobody would ever believe that was a Gene Simmons autograph if you threw it up on eBay or the Facebook groups, but it is.
It's precisely why the decision was made when I first started both of these groups that we do not allow autograph authentication, because there's simply
there's no way.
Even the quote unquote experts at PSA and all of those places, they get it wrong.
It's an educated guess at best.
I mean, where
but there are also things like way out of left field where you can clearly tell.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Yes.
But
right. But there's also, the situation that bothers me the most are when you have, one or two, or a person that has hundreds of identical autographs
in the same pen,
in the same pen,
weight.
Same weight. That's worrisome. But that being said, we don't allow autograph authentication for the reason that Joe said, because clearly Dave has an unusual Gene Simmons autograph, and it's clearly authentic.
And
you can ask my friend Dave.
My friend Dave says it's.
Yeah,
but,
he says it's
but
real.
Dave got one as well, and it's perfect.
I think he got different stuff signed, but we would both have been trying to get two things. Signed at the time, because that's what he did. So that was the event for me, and then I went to Australia, and so by the time I got to Australia, Kiss were done.
Yeah.
In Australia, there's a big thing with a lot of acts wouldn't tour that often, and so there'll be a huge amount of promotion before a band got there, but when they were gone, they'd just clear the decks and they'd promote the next big thing. Yep. And so Kiss had promised they were coming back, didn't, and just every kid in school dumped their stuff. So I'm the one walking around. I'd painted Paul Stanley's face on the back of a jacket that I wore. So as if I wasn't odd enough for this English accent, I was making myself a target with the hair and the jacket. And then people started giving me things.
And the friend named Dave, that this is me, this is my friend Dave.
I got a different friend. When I got to Australia, I got a friend called Andrew instead. I down.
There you go. He downgraded. He downgraded. That's right. At that point.
So I ended up getting given all this stuff, which would be great if I kept it, which I definitely didn't. So some of the posters that I see now, I know that I had them, and I was saying to Jason when I was chatting to him last night, I went back home. I went to Melbourne not long ago, and I found a poster tube stuck in the back of the storage shed, and I'm like, this is it. This has got to be the posters, because my posters covered my room, and I pulled them out, and it was all the posters that replaced all the Kiss posters. So it's all the topless Samantha Fox pictures. It's all the
which are still good.
cars from Miami Vice. All of those posters.
Sure.
All of the Kiss ones. At some point, I must have just gone, I don't need it. I'll keep the vinyl, but I don't need this.
Maybe people who were a little bit older at the time seem to more regularly hold on to their stuff. But I think it's back to this whole childhood and nostalgia and all the stuff that we were talking about before, where there's kind of a hard stop, and you go, "That's not cool anymore because my friends don't think it's cool. I don't think," and you've moved on at some point, and so there's that proclivity at that point to go, "I'm getting rid of everything. I'm just," and you don't have any nostalgic tie to it at that age. But now when you look back on it, you're like, "Oh man, if I could have those posters that I had." They not only would they be valuable, but from a nostalgia standpoint, they would be invaluable.
See, I break that mold because that never happened to me.
Yeah.
As I've said many times.
You sold your stuff to Peter Arquette.
But that was for a different reason. That was because
that was more of a real money and a realization standpoint,
correct.
Right?
Yeah. And I was older then. I was in my early 20s and all of that. It didn't have anything to do with my dislike of Kiss or thinking this wasn't cool anymore or whatever. It was just that was a reality situation. But as far as hitting that point where they took the makeup off, I never went through that phase of saying they're not cool anymore. I got that much more into them, but it's because of, I think my age is it's slightly under Dave and Joe, and so I hit Kiss at 6 years old, and by the time I was 8, they were taking the makeup off, so
yeah.
I think there's also that thing for me is moving. Once you go to university or you're moving house, you put your stuff in a box, and in
right.
my case, it was under my parents' house. Mm-hmm. So there was boxes of stuff put under the house because it was dry under there. Or you think it's dry under there.
Right.
And when you're pulling that out, you find that the cardboard box is fine on top, and the whole bottom half of it
has whipped all the water up. Yeah.
Rotted out, and all of that paper stuff, magazines and clippings and newspaper things. That's all gone. What are you going to do? Are you going to sort through it? You're really not into them that much anymore. It all goes in the trash.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My Kiss towel, somebody gave me one of those Kiss towels, the Aussie Tour Kiss towel, and it stayed in a box for ages. And I thought, why don't I just use this?
Use it.
So I took it to the gym, and it was my gym towel, and I was using it, and it was in the dryer at the gym, and maybe I left it on a Friday night, and they came out and they emptied all the towels, and they put a sign up saying, "We're kind of sick of telling you guys you can't leave your towels in here overnight," and they've gone in the trash. And now I look at it and go, there's people selling those for $400.
Easy,
$400.
Yeah.
That's another universal thing, right? All of the things that we should have, we could have, we didn't. All that stuff. I think all of us have stories about. I could have bought this at this time and I didn't. Yeah. I had this and got rid of it. My lunchbox got thrown, like all that stuff, right? It's just part of it. And I think too, that adds to the value, obviously, of the items, those vintage items that we're all chasing for so fervently now.
And that's why I'm not using my collection, Andrew, wearing a $400 t-shirt.
This is going in the bath.
That's a different story, I guess.
Right.
The thing that I think the oddity is, like, you've got the white double platinum behind you there. Now,
right.
I kept all my Kiss records.
I do. We do? Who does?
I left the UK, Dave, and I had figured out, valuable things. We knew that the blue label ones were harder to find in the UK. We knew what anomalies we knew what promo copies were. Now, I got to Australia in 82, 83. I have never, ever seen one of those white double platinums. And I'd go into a record store, and the first thing I've always done is go to K and flick through what was in there. So right until CDs came in and kicked all the records out, I was buying secondhand records, and I got multiple copies of Unmasked and Dynasty because there was a lot of those around. But I never, ever saw a white double platinum because I would have picked that up straight away. It's not a case of I saw it for $20 and I don't have the money. If I'd
just never even saw it, yeah,
I would have just grabbed it out of impulse, out of that little kind of the collector thing in me.
Well,
So
it goes back, yeah.
They are.
it goes back to the story that Jason told, right, about having Australian accounts, and you've had them on the lookout for them, record store accounts, and you've had them on the lookout for you for years. And what you said, one store maybe had 2 copies out of all.
Utopia had 2 copies, but those guys are Kiss fans and collectors. So,
yeah.
You know, the other guys have never even seen them, and they own record stores and buy used vinyl every day.
And so that's why when something like that comes up and I'm able to grab it, almost money is no object at that point, because it's just, you'll just never see it again. So if I can scrape together, or if I have to sell things or do whatever I have to do, sell my bathwater, do whatever I have to do to get something like that. You know, it's just, it's something you have to do because you'll never see it again. I mean, you literally may never, you may see one of those come up on eBay once or twice more. I mean, they're just so rare.
Yeah. I plan on never owning a copy of that.
That's my plan. I plan on never owning it.
So I think I'm going to be successful in that plan. That's a mission that I'm on, and I feel I'll succeed.
And that's my favorite record too. Like, I bought the new German copy. I didn't buy Kissteria, but I bought the double platinum from Kissteria.
Yep.
So I'm waiting for another US reissue of that, and I'll get that again. That's my favorite record.
I think it's my first Kiss album. I can't remember my first Kiss album. I think it's double platinum, and that's why Strutter 78 is my favorite Kiss song.
All right, so the album cut or the single cut?
So Jason,
there's my first.
Get Ken Kelly to sign that.
Hell no, I wouldn't sell it. Yeah, get Ken Kelly to sign that.
Right?
But I did put it in a yard sale when I was little, and I wrote for sale.
I like 4S lightning bolt sale. Or is that Kiss underneath? Or?
No, it's lightning bolts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. For sale. Yeah, that's great.
So Dave, you mentioned Strutter 78. Is it the album cut that's your favorite, or is it the single cut that's your favorite?
The album cut. That opening of that, because I think that is my first record, and it was such a huge. My first album. It was such a huge sound at the time on a small record player.
It was probably, you know, in the 3rd or 4th record that I ever got when I was, you know, six years old or something like that, and it reverberates in my head as well. I remember listening to it on my aunt's record player, and just, you know, going to Ben Franklin here and getting it and taking it to my aunt's who was babysitting me and putting it on, and just, yeah, man, because I don't think I had the first Kiss album at the time. You know, I had double platinum first, so, you know, it's really, really cool, I think.
So Dave, when did you see Kiss for the first time live?
I didn't see them until 95, I think. 94 or 95. It must have been the Revenge tour.
So was it in Australia?
Yeah.
So it was January of 95. February 95.
I'd stayed a fan of the band, just wasn't into them hugely, so I was still buying the vinyl. And then I think, was that when they did the official convention?
You are correct. The first official Kiss conventions were in Australia. I'll tell you the date.
Andrew will tell you the date.
I thought you would have it in your mind.
I thought for sure too. You knew the actual
object.
Yeah.
No, that's when it gets to like the non-makeup stuff. I don't memorize a lot of that stuff like I do the makeup stuff. But yeah. So anyway, the very first Kiss convention was at the Perth Hyatt in Perth, February 3rd, 1995.
And then they did the one in Melbourne, which is the one that I saw, and I think there was 2 or 3 shows following that.
Yeah. So the conventions it was Perth, February 3rd, Adelaide, February 5th, Melbourne, February 7th. Brisbane, February 10th, and then Sydney, February 12th.
So there'd been a resurgence in there was chatter now because they were coming back, and there was this little not convention but a little meetup in a bar, and I went and was just walking around and going, well, okay, this is kind of cool. There's some people here that are into this band, and there was a guy was selling a fanzine, and I looked at it and Joe, I guess, would get this, where you look at it and go, that's really shit artwork. I appreciate the effort that's going in, but I do this as a day job. I can help you. Would you like me to help you? So I got talking to one of those guys, to Peter, and he introduced me to the guy that actually put this fanzine together. And from that point on, I was trying to help I think the guy that was putting it together wanted to get into desktop publishing, and he was a big fan. He was doing it under an assumed name for some weird reason, and I just started helping with the fanzine, which was called Oh Yeah, and I think that led me to I went to the conventions, went and saw them live. I think I saw them maybe 3 times. That was my first time was seeing them without makeup. Was the first time I saw them. And then there was the announcement of them reforming. And I was like, well, I'm now working on this fanzine. I've got to contact them. I've got to go and see this tour because they've got Ace back, and I think Ace is really unpredictable, and he's only going to last 10 shows. So I need to get to one of the shows. So I'm waiting online. I would have gone anywhere, and they sold out straight away. I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to these shows unless I contacted the KISS company, called them up and whatever, and said, hey, I'm an art director on this fanzine, blah, blah, blah. And they said, yeah, sure, we'll help you. They're not going to help me at all. And so I then got high hopes. I got friends living in Houston. And so I just planned to fly out to Houston. And I think in the meantime, what had happened was Bruce and Eric came out and did a clinic in Melbourne. And so I went with the fanzine to photograph them for the clinic. So I got to hang around with them at the back of the record store before they did the signing. We did photos there. I got them to sign a couple of things for me. We went to the rehearsal setup, got some great shots of which I have no idea where they are. And then I traveled to Houston for this to try and get into a gig. So I traveled to Houston. I call the KISS company. I say, hey, I'm from this fanzine and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we don't know who you are. Why don't you just go down there and explain that? Like, okay. So the day of the sold out show in Houston, I go to the venue at maybe 1 p.m. So I just get myself down there. Obviously, it's all closed up. The only thing open is an underground car park exit. They've got a security guards thing there. And I go and explain to them, because I'm like just wide-eyed and innocent going, hi, I do this fanzine and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, the band haven't turned up yet. But since it's like really hot, you can stay in here if you want while you wait. So we're just chatting, and I guess I'm the anomaly. I'm this kid with this weird accent and blah, 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 blah. And we chat. Eventually, around 4 o'clock, the tour buses come in. And the security guards say to me, if you go to try and talk to them, we will throw you out. So you just wait till somebody comes over to the security office. And it was Andre, the
Andre Augustine, yeah.
So Andre heads our way to talk to the security guards. As he does, I say, hi, Andre, I'm Dave. Here's the fanzine that I do. I spoke to the KISS company. Is there any way you can get me in tonight? And he takes the fanzine and he said, let me see. I was like, yes, this is it for me. And he takes off. In the meantime, all the staff in the arena have been taking smoke breaks. And when they take their cigarette breaks, they come down to the air-conditioned room and they have a smoke in the cap. So I'm now chatting to somebody from the concession stands and somebody from the ticket office and I'm this weird guy, I guess. And back and forth. Eventually, Andre passes by the office again. And I jump out and I'm like, Andre, what'd they say? And he goes, nope, and just kept walking. Okay, so this hasn't exactly gone to plan. I'm still standing there, not knowing what I should do. And Linda from the ticket office comes down for her 5th cigarette break. And she's asking, did I get the tickets? And I said, no. And she said, well, they're going to open up. At 6 o'clock, they'll open up the nosebleed section and they'll sell a couple of 100 tickets up there. They're like $40. There'll be really bad seats, but you'll be in the arena. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. All right, guys, hold my stuff. I'm going up. So I go up. Tickets come on sale. I buy one. I'm way at the back. Doesn't matter. I'm going to see KISS in makeup, in costumes. First time ever. Super excited. Instead of milling around at that, I go back to my friends in the security office and I'm standing around. Linda eventually comes down for another smoke. And she says, "Did you get the tickets?" I said, "I didn't get one from the band, but I went up and thank you very much. I got my nosebleed section ticket, so I'm in, so thank you." And she said, "Let me have a look at the ticket." And as I handed over with one hand, she reaches into her pocket and she has a ticket in her pocket. And we just exchanged tickets. And she hands me this one. And I say, "What's this?" She goes, "It's third row center."
Oh, God.
She said, "I can't have you come all the way to Houston just for people to be rude."
Wow.
How does this work? And she said, "It's radio stations. Radio stations, they get these promos. People don't pick them up.
Yep.
The seats go begging." She said, "They're going on in 2 hours' time. You've paid for a ticket. You've got a ticket." And I was just like, "I love you now. This is everything to me." I've now got to get one of those big cameras, those big Instamatic cameras, into the arena without a pass, because Andre couldn't help me. So I finished up stuffing that down the front of my pants, taking my shirt off, tying that around my waist, and waddling in. I get, because you got to, like, I don't want to get frisked. I get in there, I've got my camera, I get in, I take my place, and I'm all excited. On either side of me is a Mexican Paul Stanley. It's these two brothers in full makeup, and I'm all chatty, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, "That's a great story. Do you want to get up the front?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I really want to get up the front." And they said, "Okay, when the lights go down, you tuck your elbows in, and we're gonna boost you. Get either side. And I'm like, "Okay, how does this work?" So you've got the 3 rows, and then that kind of 6 feet, and then the fence. And sure enough, that's what we do. Lights go down. I do this, and they throw me. Literally throw me over 2 rows of seats. I land and I run to the railing, and this is the first thing I see.
Wow.
That's the first picture of them ever in makeup.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
That was so amazing. I got 3 great shots from that night. There was that.
Wow.
Awesome.
And my favorite one was that.
Wow.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All through this smuggled camera and just good luck and all kinds of stuff. And I came out of the arena just buzzing. The next gig was in San Antonio. I go back to my friend's place and I say, "Where's San Antonio?" And I said, it's that way. So I get up the next morning, hire a car. I've never driven in America before. Hire a car, get a map, and just drive to. And all I know is they're playing the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. So I'm just driving wrong side of the road, twice on the wrong side of the road.
What's wrong with these fucking people?
Literally came off for fuel, I think, and ended up going the wrong way down a street, headed off through a car park to avoid hitting other traffic. And as I drive towards San Antonio,
you could just see the aerial view of and cars and the Alamo Dome in the background, and just explosions behind Dave as he's making his way to the venue.
Dave's version of the Blues Brother. It was like a rented, some kind of Pontiac little red 2-door thing, and I'm on a mission from Gene. I'm going to go to Alamo Dome, and I drive along. I see a stadium, pull off, go to the first motel near the stadium, literally straight off the ramp, and go, "Okay, where's the Alamo Dome?" And the guy says, "It's over there." I said, "Okay, book me in for 5 nights." And I grab my fanzine and I go over and I do the exact same thing. Go to the security office. Security guards go, "Fuck off." And I'm sitting on the front steps 10 minutes later. I'm just there on my own, kind of doing nothing but knowing that the ticket office is going to open.
Mm-hmm.
And a scalper comes down. So there's me and a scalper. This guy comes, sits next to me, asks me my story. "Do you want to buy a ticket?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good," because they're going to open the ticket office and I'm going to stand up the back. And as I tell my story, he was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I show him the fanzine and he said, "Oh, can I keep this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, doesn't help me anymore. Didn't get me into the gig." And he went, "Actually, it did. Pay me the cover price for this." And he sells me a ticket for $40, and it's 10 rows from the front.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, lucky star, whatever it takes. I go, watch this show, meet a girl, having a
Her
fling.
name was Dave as well.
It was all too good.
Davina.
That is the kind of girl I want to meet. And that girl starts talking to me. So I'm like, this is right. This is the proper American trip. and that was kind of it for me. Have the fling thing, and it was all really cool, and go back to Australia. And then I think it was just a case of waiting until the band turned up in Australia, where I didn't go to Sydney for the press conference, but one of the guys did, and that's Ace holding the copy of the fanzine.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Which isn't a
That
great
is
shot,
cool.
but the better shot was Paul holding it.
Incredible.
So that was, I think, that was one of the last fanzines that I helped them, that I art directed with them. And I went to the Melbourne shows. I'd never followed the band around the country, but from that point on, that was me locked back in for the makeup stuff. And that was until I think I then moved to London for work. I was in London. I was working for an American company that were based in Boston. Kiss were doing the farewell tour. And so I decided I was going to go to Boston. So I flew out to Boston, saw them there. And it was at that point where the magic started to wear off for me, because this didn't feel like it was ever going to end. It felt like it was a big merchandise machine. And I think I just wasn't that into it. Again, I never got to see them play in the UK, and moved back to Australia. And for me, that was just like, yeah, I'm kind of casually interested in them, but nothing much. Everything on CD now. So yeah, and then they toured. I think it was a tour with Motley Crue that
2012.
I went. So I missed.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. It was that was US was 2012. By Australia it was early 2013.
Okay, so when was the symphony? What year would that have been?
Symphony was 2003. February 28th, 2003 was the symphony, and that
right.
was
The reason I missed that because I was living.
Yeah,
in London.
definitely February 2003. Definitely.
How many toothpicks are in that jar behind?
Thanks, Rain Man.
Behind Joe.
Do you know my boss calls me Rain Man now?
We're gonna start calling you Rain Man.
Yeah,
too.
you're
because
Rain Man.
he,
Out from
my
now.
boss brought in two
Not
clients.
Snapchat.
My boss brought in two clients, and they were like, oh yeah, we saw Kiss at the Richfield Coliseum. I go, oh yeah, it was January 8th, 1978. There was a blizzard, and she was like, oh my god, there was. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue, Dave.
You know, some people might think that's a cool skill to have.
It's not.
Some people might.
Yeah, it's
We're not.
And all
Nobody
three
here
are on
does.
this-
Nobody here
All
does.
three of them are on the screen right now, but
Yeah.
that's it.
No,
Like,
no
don't
one-
ever tell
no one
any
thinks-
women that's. Yeah,
I
definitely know all. Kiss.
I actually think it's pretty impressive, Andrew.
Yeah. Well.
Imagine if you put it to good use, though, and lottery tickets or gambling.
We always say about criminals, though, right? Like if they would just put that energy to something useful, we could have a good society. Not Andrew.
So, yeah, I missed the cool stuff that was happening in Melbourne because I'd moved to London. I never got to see them play in the UK. Moved back, saw them with Motley Crue again. I'm like, okay, this is my saying goodbye to the band effectively. And then I moved to America 3 years ago. And Ace was just about to do a show in LA. And I went and I saw I could get a VIP package and he could sign some stuff for me. And that just mind blown. But I thought I'll never get to see the band, but I'll get to see Ace. And that's really important to me. And that was how this whole thing started for me, because in the lineup for the VIP, I get talking to other guys that say, yeah, they do conventions and there's these groups online and then you buy stuff with eBay. Buy stuff with eBay, the postage is so expensive. They're like, no, not in America. Like, $3 mailers. I was like, whoa, I could seriously get back into this. And that was it. So I think I then bought a whole bunch of just American stuff that I knew that I wanted in my collection. I want a blue label and I want this camel label. And then I found the Wax group, at which point they went, yeah, all those things that you bought, that's all trash. The good
No,
stuff.
we did not.
No. What you actually, I got educated. I got educated that
You're not a real Kiss collector unless you have this record and this record and this record.
They're very
Look at my bin divider labels. You're not a real fan.
Yeah, you got the blue label, but the rare one is the camel label. I was like,
right.
Okay, now I've got to try and find those. And I figured out that buying things from eBay opened me up to buying really average quality records, which I realize that's the one thing I appreciate about the Wax group is the stuff that is shared between the members tends to be of a higher quality.
Yes.
So I just started buying, and then through that's how I recontacted with Dave. So in the Wax group, Dave and I hadn't spoken for ages because he's still in Manchester, and I saw his name come up. I'm like, can't be you.
Can't possibly be you, yeah.
Message one another, and he's like, dude, where have you been? And it's like, so we probably message each other every day, every second day, and he's just done all of the UK tour. He's just gone to every show. So they have all they're mostly general admission shows in the UK.
Yes.
All floor space. So whereas we're paying $700,000-$800,000 to get up front in the local shows here, you pay £50 over there. You just get in early and run to the front.
It's the way it used to be here,
Yeah,
and then it turned into an insurance nightmare, and people getting hurt, and they stopped. That's what stopped all of that. So.
Yeah, the thing, and the price then.
And you're right.
Charge is ridiculous.
Yeah, the tiered pricing and all that. So you start collecting. So now you really get the bug through the groups. So why don't we pivot now to? Do you have 2 or 3 or 4 things you want to show that are sort of prized collection pieces?
No, because I think the prize collection stuff is nowhere near as good as what you've already seen and what you've seen from.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
It matters to you.
It's what's important to you.
The thing that's important to me, the most important thing for me, is that.
There you go. That's cool.
I hate to tell you, that's an amazing, amazing piece, my friend.
Oh, it's amazing.
So to get that finished is that's my growth. So growing up and going, I want to get things signed. To get that completed.
So when did you get that copy?
That copy I got in the last 2 years. I may have overpaid for it because it's in good condition.
Who cares?
But I never thought I'd have a promo of the first album. I've known what promos are, but I never thought I'd have that. The other one would be that.
That's awesome. It's one of my favorites.
I love how Dave says, "Oh, the stuff I have isn't as cool as the stuff that you guys have," and then he shows these amazing pieces of merchandise. Yeah.
I just think that I didn't know about this. I found it on a flea market in Long Beach for $50, and I talked.
Awesome! It's awesome.
What a great story.
Yeah.
I just picked it up, looked at it for 50, and I'm like, "Would you take 40?" He's like 45, and I turned to walk away because I didn't know what it was, and then I went, "Nah, go on." And then the other one I'd like to get finished because I met Bruce and Eric when they were doing that promo tour in Australia.
So who do you need on that?
Paul and Gene.
Paul and Gene.
Paul and Gene. And that's
Paul and Gene on all of them, right?
Yeah. And that's the impossible thing for me now. And that's why, and Joe and I have discussed this, Jason and I talked about it last night. Is that where the value of the meet and greet actually comes in, because we're never going to sell them ever. Nobody's ever going to be able to buy that stuff from me. I've got to hope that the godson at some point when I'm in my 70s goes, hey, you know those things that I was playing with in the bath? And they show an interest. Somebody's kid at some point when I'm in my 70s is going to benefit from their love of vinyl, because that's the only time it's leaving me.
That's also the other part of the collector community. I got into a little bit of I don't want to say a thing, but a discussion with some people online about, I took my copy of the first record and I used a Sharpie to color it all in, to make sure that you couldn't see the paper and the ringware and all the stuff where it had been scuffed. And some people believe that doesn't devalue it if you're going to hold on to it. My thing is, if you do that sort of thing, at some point, if it doesn't go to your godson or your godniece or whatever, then it's going to hit the market at some point. and some poor guy is going to buy the first album promo that somebody took in their house and sharpied it in because for them it looked cool, but it's going to hit the market at some point. So
Right.
I just think as a collector community, that kind of stuff is dicey.
I agree.
So,
I agree with you, Joe. I agree.
Yeah.
So Dave, our Kiss is coming up. The second leg of the End of the Road tour is coming up. Do you have any plans to go and see them?
oh, here
Yes,
it
I've
comes.
got
Here it comes.
So I saw them in. Well, I still don't know whether you're coming along. I saw them in LA when they said they were only going to play the one LA show, the one city. At the time, I was dating someone, and so she wasn't into the band. I didn't believe this show was going to be anything better than I've ever seen before. So we finished up still paying a couple $100 each for a ticket, but we were up the back. We went, we saw it. I'm like, yeah, I would like to have been closer. It was an amazing show. I was so glad that I spent the money because it was mind-blowing. And then, she and I have broken up. They've announced another LA gig, which I don't quite understand unless there's a caveat that says we are never playing the same venue.
That's what they mean. That's what they mean.
That's what they mean.
They
Yeah.
played the Forum last time, and now they're playing the Staples Center, which is a pain in the ass because it's easier to drive to the Forum, but whatever. But I paid the money. I'm 3 rows because I think that's just kind of far enough back to be able to see it properly, as opposed to being right underneath the risers.
That's where I saw it in Memphis, was in third row.
I'm hoping that it's pick flicking distance because I just would like to, Yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm doing the second LA gig. I'm going, and I'm still debating. And Joe and I have discussed this because I don't have many people in LA. My buddies are in Shanghai and are in Melbourne, and London, and in Manchester. Dave is in Manchester. I don't have,
Another Dave.
I don't have peeps in LA. So I'd said to Joe, because he was considering going to the show, and I said, if I do the Paul Stanley meet and greet, you're welcome to come along because I'm allowed to take people. But I'm debating that. I think the big thing is, do I spend the money on the experience, knowing that my visa here is good for unless I can get a green card. My work permit is up at the end of 2021. I'd have to look at the Paul meet and greet as something of an investment because I love to have the signed stuff. It means something to me. I can't believe that Paul's going to be doing meet and greet things once this tour is over.
It's interesting. It seems like he's really cut back, even like with the art gallery stuff, right? You have to purchase a piece or you have to, so there's definitely a cost of entry now, especially for Paul. Maybe Gene, not as much, although he's kind of, Gene seems
he already
like
announced an event.
What's that?
He already announced there's like a dinner event because it's the Axe-based event, but it's fine art pieces
But that's a bunch of money too,
it's $2,500
to get into that. So I think it's just getting tougher and tougher to get access to both guys now. But Gene but Paul a little more so. So it's kind of gotten down for some of us where if we have things that are kind of hanging out there that we needed to get signed, and we had talked about this on previous episodes, that this is the time, right? Because we don't know what else he's going to be doing. So,
and the other thing that kind of sold me on it is I went to one of the book signings, where he wasn't signing. It was just the photograph thing.
Yeah.
And when I had my 5 seconds and went up, and he looked me in the eye and said, "Thank you for coming out to this."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that I didn't expect that from one of my heroes. Like it just felt like, I know he does that with everyone, and everyone feels that they know him and he doesn't know anyone and all of that stuff. But that was one of the things where I went, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should just go and get a guitar that I don't need, that is so incredibly overpriced, and just get that and just have that as a memento of
your fandom.
Of everything.
Yeah.
Would you sell the guitar? Would you sell the guitar?
No, because I'll get it signed to me. I like getting stuff
Me too.
signed to me. If I can get that, it means something extra. These things, the shag.
Yeah.
So that's the coasters from there. The shag just did. I love that.
Dave, you could have one of these.
So beautiful.
This too could be yours, Dave.
So beautiful.
It's not that cool. Don't worry about it. Really,
Listen,
it's
Dave,
not.
Dave, don't even worry about it. So, like, you could split it with other Dave, so it's only half the price for you. Just split it
That's
with your other
right.
personality.
I'll send it over for 6 months, and then he can send it back. So, like the
Custody,
shag,
right? It'll be a custody agreement.
yeah,
Yeah.
Share custody, yeah.
the Shag print. So the artist Shag is probably my favorite lowbrow artist, and I saw he'd done this thing, so I put my name down to buy one of the prints, which are expensive lithograph anyway because they're proper art prints. But he was at the gallery. He's got his own gallery on Melrose, and so he was there on the night that they launched this, and I elected not to get mine framed because framing is another $500 on these. And the good thing about that was, as I got it, he was there, and I said, would you mind personalizing it for me? So everybody else's print just has his name and number on it. And mine says, to Dave, shout it out loud,
That's
written in
cool.
pencil underneath.
Very
And
cool.
that, for me, I guess it may devalue in some ways if you were going to sell that artwork later on. But I never plan on doing that. That's something for me that's special to me. And it's a reminder of, I was there. I was there. I met them.
And you'll never get rid of it. So
No.
it's like to you, yeah. And I do that stuff too. I have some stuff that's personalized to me that are hung up on the wall now, and it's
Same.
just a cool piece of memorabilia to have. And again, it's that I've talked about it before. It's that place and time. It's the memory of that place and time.
Yeah.
And I can see Gene's point when Gene argues that signing stuff he's just making it more valuable for people to sell on eBay. I sort of want them to see that I want it personalized to sort of convince them.
Absolutely.
I do not want to sell this. This is special to me. The moment is very special to me.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the story is to be continued if I do bite the bullet and go for this package, but it's a big credit card investment to do.
Well, and
it.
here's the thing too: if you go for the package and somehow we end up doing this thing, and I come out and do all that, then I'll be breaking my pact on that Detroit show being the last show ever that I was ever going to be
Yes,
to.
you will.
Then all the emotions and all the stuff that went into that are going to feel hollow. So
And,
then
and
I'll
I
be
and
the
I am
sucker.
going to lambaste you for that.
Yeah, and
As will I.
And I should be. But
And if they go back to Vegas as part of this, if they play anywhere, I think I'm going to do that as well. There's something for me because I've fallen in love with Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see them play there.
I missed the residency too, and I don't know how or why I missed that residency because I flew out to see Prince when he was out there and did some stuff in Vegas because it's so easy and cheap to get to, right? Because they want you to come out there, so all the it's all sort of worked out that way. But I didn't do the Las Vegas residency, and I should have. So if they do that again, I think that might be like a kind of a thing that I would really think about. So look, I'm not done seeing Kiss. All the other stuff I said before, I was lying to everybody.
Yeah, I am no doubt about it. I'm absolutely done
Except
the next time.
Shut up. No, you're
that's
not.
just like
No, you're
Kiss,
not.
right? We are never playing one forum drive ever again. But we'll play.
We'll play 2 Forum Drive, and
Play.
they changed the name, so we're playing there again. And
Yeah, I'm never ever doing this until the next time.
listen, I'm never doing it until the next time. So
That's right.
listen,
So, Dave,
this has been awesome. This has been one of my favorite episodes.
It has.
You
Yeah.
can edit all my parts out.
No, I'm just gonna edit Joe's dog barking out. Is what I'm gonna edit out.
That's right. The howl of the distressing howling. Yeah.
He howls in the
thanks
rain
for
of
coming
thunder.
on, Davey. So it was really fun to meet you in Indianapolis
Yes,
when we
I
did and take the time and find like-minded Kiss fans out there.
Yes.
So yeah, very cool. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, enjoyed it, Dave. All right, if that's all, we will see you on the next one. You're a dog.
Right.
Fuck you, Joe LaLeash.
That's Joe LaLeash. All right, sorry about that, guys.